miss the days of writing letters on paper with a pen. Seal it in an envelope, lick a stamp, and then walk it to the mailbox. Raise the flag, and when the mailman brings an answer, maybe I'll sit and write again. Write again, my friend. Maybe I'll sit and write again. When the mailman brings an answer, maybe I'll sit and write again. Hey, Jeffrey Pepper Rogers back with Guitar Sessions, and that is a little piece of my song called Write Again. And this is a little waltz played in drop D tuning. It's a song I've been asked about a lot. People seem to really respond to, and it's a special one to me as well. So I thought I would share with you today. And it's a pretty simple and accessible song, and I think it'll give you some ideas and shapes to use for drop D tuning and for accompanying waltzes. It's also got a little bit of hybrid picking. I played these little melodic intro and interludes in here that I will show you along the way. The quick backstory of this song is that it originated in a poem written by my late friend Jack Bacchino. And he originally shared it along with one of his photos. And I love the feeling in this poem, and I set it to music, and I added the rest of the words. His poem was the first verse. The whole backstory about Jack and about this song is up on my website if you'd like to dig in a little deeper. So the lyrics are definitely nostalgic, so I went in the direction of somewhat old-fashioned sounding music, a little like an uncovered Stephen Foster song. And I did release this song on the album called Live and Listening. It's a guitar clarinet duo there, but here I'm obviously going to be showing you the solo version. First, let me just go through the shapes in order of appearance. First, we got a G, which I am playing as a one-finger G. In one spot, I do that with my pinky, and another one with my ring finger, but just fretting the 6th string, 5th fret, muting the 5th string, and then playing strings 4, 3, 2, open. So there's my G chord. And then this is a G sharp diminished. So just slide that 6th string up 1 fret, still muting the 5th string, fretting the 3rd string, 4th fret, not playing the 1st string once again as in the G chord. That's a G sharp diminished. Then we've got an A, which I'm playing with a one-finger bar like that. So that little sequence, G sharp diminished, and A, just has a little bass line that goes G sharp to A. Nice little sequence there. All that is in the introduction, and there's one little A embellishment, which is a D over A, which uses this shape. So I go from A to D over A, back to A again. And finally, we land on the D chord. So in the notation that I have posted, I show it as a 6th string D chord. You can play all the strings in drop D tuning, but I really don't play the 1st string, almost never in this song. So I play the 2nd string. That D note is the highest note in the chord. Technically that's a D5, but I'm just calling it a D here. Next is a shape you may not know, which actually is not just a drop D shape because it doesn't involve the 6th string. It's a B minor 7, and I'm actually making a little bar with my index finger on the 5th and 3rd strings, and then in between on the 4th string, I'm fretting the 4th fret. So I'm calling that a B minor 7, but I'm actually not playing the minor third in there, which would be a D note. There is no D note in this chord, but the harmony in the song, the overall harmony is definitely minor, so I'm calling it a B minor 7, but it's incomplete. I'm not playing the minor there. Then we have an E7. So an E7 shape like you'd be used to playing in standard tuning probably, but then we have to fret the 6th string there, 2nd fret, in order to get that low E bass note. There's my E7. So there's also a D over F sharp. This is just an alternate bass note under the D to add a little movement, so it can go from D over F sharp. It's a nice thing to do in drop D tuning that way. We've got an F sharp minor add 4. So I'm fretting string 6, 5, 4 at the 4th fret, and then fretting the 3rd string, 2nd fret. But I am including, so that those bottom 4 strings are an F sharp minor, but I'm also including that 2nd string open, that B note, which is our add 4. So it's just a little extra color that I like to include in there with that F sharp minor chord. And finally, sometimes on the A, I reach over and grab the 6th string, 2nd fret with my middle finger to get a lower alternate bass note so that I can So those are the shapes, and now let me just go through the song section by section and just cover some basics, but you can find the full notation on Patreon. So it opens with this little introduction. When I wrote this song, I had it in mind, this little melody, not as a vocal melody, but as something I wanted to play instrumentally, separately. So in the introduction, that melody goes like this. So then it has chords behind it. So it's going from G, G sharp diminished, to A. So this is where the hybrid picking comes in. So I want to be able to grab that bass note. So I'm using my pinky there. And then while I'm simultaneously doing that little melody figure on the 2nd and 3rd string. So I'm playing strings that are not next to each other. I need to use either fingerstyle or hybrid picking. So I'm using hybrid picking here. For that on the G, when I go to that G sharp, I actually do play that with the pick. Because this time I'm grabbing that A note here with my pinky. And I land on that A. I just play that slowly. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So at the end, that little slide up to the D over A and back to A. So maneuvering through all that takes a little practice. Especially that part of it is where I need the hybrid picking. Now, if you're going to play with your fingers, be straightforward. Just play the lower notes with your thumb and the upper ones with your fingers. But this is how I'm doing it here because I like the hybrid picking because then I can go into a kind of a bass strum part for the main part of the song. So that's the introduction. Then when we settle into the verse, I do mostly play a on the 1, 2, 3 of waltz time, I play a bass note on beat 1, 2 strums on beats 2 and 3. A few ways you can vary that. That would be eighth notes on beat 3, so 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and on those eighth notes, I can just go down, up with 2 strums, or I could do break it up and just play individual notes in the chord, whatever chord I'm playing over. So that's one way. One way to vary it is to play eighth notes on beat 3. In some spots I also do 2 eighth notes on beat 1, so this would be an example of that. So down, up on the strings 6 and 5, and then 2 strums, 1 and 2, and 1 and 2. Just showing it on a few different chords, so you can definitely arpeggiate the chords. Just instead of using strums, just use individual notes. Let the strings, let the notes ring, and arpeggiate the chords. And then at the end of the verse, there's just one little embellishment on the D, where I just, on the D, lift up the 3rd string and put it back down. Let me play through the progression for the verse. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. One little fingering thing to notice is when you're going from that D to the F sharp minor, you can leave that index finger in place. Always nice to have a guide finger like that. When you're making a change, you can keep something anchored. The chorus kind of goes along similarly, using the same chords. And I've got that A, the A over E, alternate bass note under the A. And from the first chorus, it goes back into that intro. Back into that intro, go into another verse and chorus, and goes into an interlude, which is basically an extended version of the intro, and one that uses some more hybrid picking. So let me just isolate that part of it, what's labeled in the notation as Interlude 2. So I'm just going to play it for you, and then I can break down a couple things. 1, 2, 3, 1. That is our little interlude 2. So also involving some hybrid picking. I kind of go in and out of hybrid picking. Some parts of it I can do stay with just the pick, but some of those phrases, especially that one, involve the hybrid picking. So you can kind of see how that works out best for you. Just really focus on making sure that the top note and all that is clear so that that melody comes out. we have one more verse in this song after that, and as I often do in songs, it's great in the last verse of a song to kind of bring it down quiet. So I do a lot of just strumming a chord and holding it. I miss the time to think it over, find the words to say. Just to let the chords ring like that can really just be a great effect to get people to kind of lean in and really listen. And then the song ends from there with an extended chorus. It's almost like a double chorus. At the very end of the song, Interlude 2 comes back. But this time it just ends with a little walk up to a D chord. So let me play that by itself. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So I'm going to give the full song a whirl here. Probably won't play it exactly as I notated it. That's more just a representative version in terms of some of the little variations. So you should feel free to make your own variations as you try it out as well. So here we go. I miss the days of writing letters on paper with a pen. Seal it in an envelope, lick a stamp, and then walk it to the mailbox. Raise the flag, and when the mailman brings an answer, maybe I'll sit and write again. Write again, my friend. Maybe I'll sit and write again when the mailman brings an answer. Maybe I'll sit and write again. I miss the quiet contemplation, imagining you there, the wishing and the waiting, the questions in the air, and then the sweet delivery. When I recognize your hand, I read your letter slowly, and it brings you near again. Near again, my friend, it brings you near again. I read your letter slowly, and it brings you near. The time to think it over, find the words to say, share with you the yearning that's in my heart today. With every line across the paper, I better understand. I feel that you are listening as I sit and write again. Write again, my friend, as I sit and write again. I feel that you are with me as I sit and write. Write again, my friend, as I sit and write again. I feel that you are with me as I sit and write. All right, there you have it. Right again. Hope you have fun trying out this song. If you sing it, I'd love to hear what you do with it. Thanks for watching. I'm Jeffrey Pepper Rogers. Catch you next time.